Okay, this is David Worth from the Family Enterprise Center at UNC Kenan-Flagler, and I am here with Alex Sorto, who's in Honduras. And Alex's family has a coffee business. Also joining us are some of the coffee farmers in Honduras. This is just an awesome chance for us to have a global conversation. Alex, thanks so much for being here.
Sure. Hello, David. How are you?
You're doing great. Got up this morning and was thinking about us talking, and the number of topics that we could cover right now are just, I can't even count. The topics that we should cover are family business and what your family business is like in Honduras, as well as the farmer's family business, and then talk about some challenges and opportunities for coffee production in Honduras, so that people learn a little bit more about what you all do there. Does that sound good?
Yes, that sounds good. So I will introduce the coffee farmers. This is Jose and Marden. Jose y Marden, ¿se pueden presentar, por favor?
Buenos días, mi nombre es Marden Donilei Rodríguez, productor de café de acá de Honduras.
Buenos días, mi nombre es José Rosales, productor de café aquí de Honduras.
So they said they are Marden and Jose, and so they said that they are coffee producers from Honduras.
Well, Alex, let's ask, what is you and them, what's the best part and the worst part of your day?
For me, let's see. So the best part, I would start with the best part would be going to do exercise here in Honduras. Like the neighborhood, the weather is really, really good. It is right now, I don't remember the temperature, but it's really nice, and with the trees and the leaves. So that's my best part. And then the worst, I don't know, I would say maybe when it gets too hot, but the weather is really nice overall. So I will translate. I will ask Marden and Jose in Spanish the same question. So Marden y Jose pregunta a David que cuál es su mejor y su peor parte en sus vidas diarias. Una pregunta general.
La mejor parte que somos productores de café y desempeñamos lo que hacemos por pasión. La peor parte es saber que hacemos un buen trabajo, pero no tenemos acceso a buenos mercados al momento de comercializar nuestro café.
Okay, so Martin basically said that their best part is to be coffee farmers, to be coffee producers. That is their passion. However, Martin explained that one of the worst parts is that it is difficult to market their coffee in the market business.
Gotcha. Well, Alex, would you describe a little bit about your family business? I've interacted with your dad a little bit on LinkedIn, and the enthusiasm that he brings to the table, as well as innovation, adaptability, has been really inspiring. But could you just tell us the name of the company and give us a little bit of an illustration of what the business is like?
Sure. So my family business is Grupo By Fortune. It is located in Teopecenti, El Paraíso in Honduras, in the eastern part of Honduras. So most coffee farmers are in the commodity business, where there are highly volatile price changes. However, we are in that differentiated coffee business with different coffee varietals. The coffee business requires intense hand labor, and Honduras is the 5th largest coffee producer in the world, and the coffee business is a $200 billion market value.
That's great. And you personally, what year are you in school?
I'm a rising junior at UNC Chapel Hill. I'm studying business administration, and I've really liked it so far at UNC. I learned a lot from my professors as well from other students.
So when did you start to get interested in your family business? Has this been a lifelong thing, or are you still navigating that choice of getting involved or not? Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Sure, it's definitely lasted for several years, I think for a long time, because when I was about 15, 16 years old, my father showed my brother and I the coffee farms for the first time when I was about 15 or 16, I think. I got involved in seeing the operations of the business, the people, and I really liked and fell in love with the atmosphere, the mountains, the business. And so I have been visiting the coffee farms for ever since, at least once a year. And so even then, I have been involved working with my father in an internship last year, and I've really enjoyed being part of the business.
And what are the steps in the supply chain here? Could you go through that with us so that we understand what you all are doing compared to what the farmers and producers are doing?
Sure. So as I kind of explained before, there is the commodity business where there are highly volatile price changes, and so this is the standard coffee, and most coffee farmers are in this business. However, we are in the differentiated coffee business where we produce different coffee varietals such as Parainema, Geisha, and so different exotic varietals. And so we produce the coffee and we export it, and so to different roasters. And so we sell it in different markets. We are also in another side of the business, which is the coffee pulp market. So we do not only sell the coffee, but also its components like pulp. And so we have a facility that processes this pulp and we export it as well.
That's a great description. Let's ask a few questions of the producers themselves. Would you mind asking them a few questions so we can hear a little bit about their daily lives and some challenges and opportunities that they see?
Sure, I will translate.
Great.
So Marden y José va a preguntar David unas preguntas sobre los desafíos, sobre los problemas del café. Ahorita va a preguntar David. So I just told them that you will ask them some questions about the challenges and problems that the coffee producers face.
Great. Let's talk about just getting their product produced and to market. What is that like? I'd love just a description of kind of a day in the life of a coffee producer.
Sure. So Marden y José, David pregunta que si les puede dar una descripción de cómo es sacar un producto como el café al mercado, cuál es la vida diaria para un productor de café. ¿Cómo es?
Bien, como productor de café, pues levantarse a las 5 de la madrugada a diario, pues en ciertas ocasiones trasladarse por 1 o 2 horas. A veces pues se hace caminando, el que tiene acceso a su carrito pues lo hace a través de su vehículo. Y pues para estar en lo que es en la finca. El proceso pues, como ustedes bien lo saben, recolectar lo que es lo de la cereza, hacer todo lo que es el proceso hasta llevarlo a proceso de, todo el proceso de beneficiado, perdón. Y pues llevarlo hasta que es a un 12% de humedad. Pues el trabajo es bastante arduo, de mucho compromiso como para nosotros como productores, pensando en lo que es mantener la calidad del producto, ¿verdad?
Okay.
No,
Uh,
okay.
David, so Martin explained that the daily life in a coffee producer consists of first waking up at 5 in the morning, then traveling for about 1 or 2 hours to the coffee farms. And so that requires intense hand labor when they are in the coffee farms, because they have to harvest in the harvest season. And so, yes, that is basically what Martin explained.
Well, you know, a lot of times I think we get stuck in our own neighborhoods. And what I mean by that is we talk a lot about at the Family Enterprise Center about things like succession planning and transition, about education of the next generation and such topics, but we tend to think about it in terms of our own little world. And I would be very interested in learning about how they think about those things. How long have their farms been in their family, and what they think about when they think about if they have children, whether they include them in the farming process and whether they would want them to continue with the business?
Okay, sure. I will translate. So, Marden y José pregunta a David que, primero que todo, en qué consiste lo de el paso en generación. Primero que todo, si las granjas de café, pues las fincas de café son pasadas en generación, si ustedes las acaban de obtener o si fueron pasadas de generaciones pasadas. Y luego, si ustedes consideran pasarlas si es que tienen a sus hijos o si no lo consideran.
Bueno, en algunas ocasiones así es. El caso de lo que tengo yo, así fue pasada. Mi papá me la dio a mí, pero igual, nosotros crecimos en ella, ¿verdad? Crecimos en ella, y eso aquí, más que todo, eso se acostumbra, bueno. Yo estoy pensando también en pasársela también a mis hijos, ¿verdad? Aquí por lo general, así de esa forma se hace, de esa forma, pero siempre se trabaja en conjunto, en familia, ¿verdad? Por eso lo que decía Marden ahora, en la pasión, por eso es, porque todos lo ponemos cariño, empezando desde el más pequeño hasta el más grande.
Okay, so Jose basically explained that yes, the coffee farms are passed. For example, for Jose, his dad passed the coffee farm to their sons and daughters, and so Jose grew up in the coffee farm. He was involved at a young age, and so he also he now owns the coffee farm, and he also thinks of passing on the coffee farm to his children. And so that's where passion is located. He explains in the family that works in the coffee farm at a young age and is passed through these different generations.
That's great. What kinds of support do they think that they could use to help their businesses? What kinds of opportunities are there to improve or to help with the process of being a successful family business?
Sure. So, Jose y Marden pregunta a David que, ¿cómo es que se llama? ¿Qué herramientas les podemos dar para ayudarlos a enfrentar los problemas en sus fincas de café, lo que son desafíos, sus necesidades, cómo los podemos ayudar, qué herramientas les podemos dar?
Tenemos 3 puntos básicos que como productores pues nos está perjudicando. La primera es no tener acceso a financiamiento. La segunda es lo que nos está perjudicando, lo del tiempo climático. y la otra es no acceso a un mercado directo.
Okay, so David Marden explained that there are 3 challenges that they are facing, and so these are the access to investment, to their coffee farms, access to these investments, and so the other is the climate change, and I believe he also mentioned the pandemic.
That's great. How has the pandemic affected you all there, Alex? That's for you and the producers. Has life really kind of paused, like we talk about here in the United States? And how's that affecting work?
Sure. So the pandemic definitely has put everyone in lockdown in Honduras. However, we have implemented biosecurity measures, and my family business is completely operational. And so with these biosecurity measures, but yes, for the ordinary people, me and my family and everyone, we are locked down in our homes. So for the coffee farmers in our coffee business, in our coffee business, as I explained, that is the case. And now I will ask, well, before I ask, there is also a statistics from the pandemic that Honduras as a whole, there is a negative 2.3% economic growth in 2020 in Honduras, according to the World Bank. So now I will ask Jose and Marden, what are the effects of this pandemic for the coffee farmers. So Marden y José pregunta a David que cómo la pandemia los ha afectado en su vida diaria a los caficultores y en su vida diaria.
Estamos teniendo diferentes dificultades. Entre ellas podríamos mencionar que no tenemos una libre circulación. De hecho, lo estamos haciendo una vez cada 15 días. Y en cuanto a lo del café, nos está afectando bastante en la parte de exportación, por decir así. ¿Qué quiero mencionar con esto? Anteriormente, en las cosechas pasadas, a estas alturas, a estas fechas, se había exportado una buena cantidad de café. Un ejemplo sería, como productor de café, voy a exportar 10 quintales de café, hoy en día solo puedo hacerlo con 5. ¿Por qué? Las cafeterías a nivel mundial están cerradas. ¿Qué significa? Que hay menos consumo de café. Aparte de eso, los precios, o sea, café que posiblemente se vendía a $2, $2.50, hoy se lo quieren comprar con unos $50 la libra. Como productores nos estamos viendo perjudicados en esos aspectos.
Okay. So David Marden explained that, first of all, there is no circulation for at least once. There is circulation, but just once every 15 days. And so there is also in the coffee business, for the coffee farmers, there is a less amount of exports than last year. And so that is because there is the issue that the coffee shops are closed, and so there is less consumption of coffee, and so that causes the coffee price to decrease from $2.50, let's say, dollars to $1.50.
I see. How is the coffee sold, Alex? Is it per a certain weight?
Sure. So normally they call it in Spanish, the word is quintales, which I think would be translated into, normally in coffee is the term that they use is pounds. But yeah, I believe that is the term that is normally used.
Okay. So it'd be like 2.5 per pound, for example. Is that
For example, yes. I don't know the exact number, but yes, that could be an example.
Gotcha. Well, the other thing they've mentioned is the climate change. How do you all view the effects of climate change? Now, that's a much longer term issue, I hope, than the current pandemic. But what types of things are you all thinking about when you think about climate change? I know coffee production occurs in this very kind of narrow band of climate and altitude. So could you just talk a little bit about that? And you all might be a little more sensitive to that than even other people. And think about coffee as such a global business, so dependent on exports, that be interested in your views on how climate change might affect you.
Sure. So during this time of crisis, first of all, our companies, in my family business, we have been giving away food and water supplies since our communities have also suffered a drought as well as limited access to income. So climate change, yes, that is a big issue because, for example, Central America is among the regions that are most vulnerable to climate change, according to the Washington Post. So Honduras experiences drought and heavy rainfall. And so what else? Let's see. Also that this climate change issue requires us to adapt with coffee climate change practices such as coffee varietals, adapted to climate change. And so we use different practices like planting trees for shade, a water protection effort that we have in our family business to protect water, and also systems of irrigation, of some sort of irrigation. And so that all these practices help fight climate change in Honduras. And so if you want, I can ask Marden and Jose what are these challenges for the coffee farmers. So Marden y Jose pregunta, David, ¿cuáles son los problemas por el cambio climático? Si pueden explicar cuáles son los problemas del cambio climático para los productores de café.
Problema sería que las calidades no son las mismas. Enfrentamos, por decir así, como productores estamos perdiendo tanto en la parte de peso del café como en la calidad. Como productores a nivel de país, pues nos estamos enfocando en trabajar con cafés especiales. Debido a la sequía, pues no se está logrando. ¿Por qué? Nos están saliendo mucho café averanado y al momento de llevarlo a una taza, a una catación, pues lastimosamente no tenemos los resultados esperados, más que todo en esa parte.
Okay, so so Marden explained that there is different conditions that the coffee farmers are facing, and so that causes them to lose some of the coffee, and so that also means that they cannot produce special coffees like our family business, like my family business, and so they cannot produce specialty coffees, and so they have different results.
And I heard something about the quality level changes. Is that something that happens, like the quality of the coffee bean?
Yes, the quality changes. They explained that as well, Marden and Jose. And so also as I explained, to lose some of the coffee. So yes, both of those conditions.
How do they feel about Donald Trump? I'm just kidding. Don't. Let's not ask
Okay,
that.
Sure, I will ask them.
No,
So
no, I don't want to get political. I'm just kidding. Tell me something family business oriented, Alex. What have you gotten out of learning a little more about being a family business and educating yourself on some of the differences in a family business and another business?
So, like my education, first of all, at my family business, well, definitely has opened my mind in how we fight climate change, how we adapted with coffee varietals, the use of technology, definitely, the tools and the power of education, really, because this access to technology is a game changer in the coffee business. And so definitely both my experience in my family business as well as at UNC, I have seen how technology and business can be a game changer for a country like Honduras, who is very impacted by climate change, the pandemic, and technology.
So where did you, to dive into that technology piece a little bit for me, what types of things were you talking about there?
Sure. So technology, I'm talking about sustainable coffee producing practices. That would be the adaptation, the varietals that are adapted, the plants that are grafted that have an adequate root system. And so, as well as the coffee pulp that we have, the facility that processes this coffee pulp. And so the coffee farmers may have another perspective. They also, I was talking to them and they explained that, Jose and Marden explained that there are technology issues like the weather forecast to know when they should expect and prepare for heavy rainfall, a drought, or things like that. So, and access to technology in general, like the things that I mentioned in my family business.
That's interesting. So sometimes people think about technology as computers, but you're talking about engineering and bringing technical know-how to the actual farming process.
Yes, that's correct.
Sounds like you all are very innovative in the industry. And I wonder, what are communications like with your dad? Because that's often an issue with family businesses. You just don't know how to talk together. And so a lot of what we talk about is how do we not burn through any capital that we have, and also how do we not kill each other, right? Like, what's that like? Are you all in regular communication? How has that evolved over time?
Yes, we communicate regularly every day. Actually, right now I am in Honduras, but even at UNC, I try to communicate every day. And so the communication is really good. We always try to mix the topics of conversation between sports or the news or anything that it really takes your mind off business of our family business. But we'll also talk about topics of the family business, of the current circumstances of the pandemic, of climate change. And I get to learn a lot about, yes, my family business, what are our practices, how the business works. And so my dad serves as a mentor in that way. And so, and our conversations are really good in that sense. Of course, there are sometimes that there may be a conversation, but I would say that normally that is normal in every family. But we'll always have a good time and even a few laughs.
Well, we're coming to the end of our time, so we may actually have to do this in a couple different recordings, if that's okay with you. It's very kind of you all to donate your time like this to talk with me. And I just want to say that I'd love to develop a way for us to achieve what you've identified as a bigger vision of getting involved in Honduras to help the coffee producers as well as your family business to become more sustainable, more profitable, and more successful. Do you have any other topics, last thoughts that you'd like to bring up, Alex? I'd love to get a final word from Martin and as well before we sign off?
Sure. So definitely helping the coffee producers is something that has been on my desk and in my mind for a while. And so we came up with together with an initiative to make the coffee producers successful entrepreneurs by helping them and providing them with the training and tools to improve their business practices in a post-COVID world. So, and so how we want to do this is by attacking the problems that we mentioned: climate change, the pandemic, technology. And so I will end with this last fact that there are about 130 small coffee farmers. And so there is and these small coffee farmers impact about 1.2 million lives in Honduras. So there is a potential to really help 1.2 million lives in this country. And so now I will ask Marden and Jose for final words. Marden y José, pregunta David, ¿cuáles son sus últimos palabras sobre lo que hemos estado platicando, sobre lo de la iniciativa que les conté, qué les parece? Últimas palabras sobre lo que hemos platicado.
Agradecido con ustedes por la oportunidad que nos dan, ¿verdad? A nosotros como productores de estar en esta conferencia. Y pues ya ustedes sabiendo cuáles son nuestras necesidades como productores, pues de antemano agradecerles el posible apoyo que venga de parte de ustedes.
Okay, so Martin explained that first of all, he's very thankful for this opportunity to be in this video conference to be explaining the needs of the coffee farmers. And also as well as he explained that he also thanks us in advance for getting to know these needs and of these coffee producers here in the conference.
Y Jose también.
Sorry?
And Jose.
Oh, José pregunta a David que cuáles son sus últimas palabras sobre lo que hemos estado platicando, sobre lo que hemos estado platicando.
Bueno, es un placer, ¿verdad?, haber estado con ustedes en esta conferencia. Igual lo que decía Marden, ojalá que esta sea, me llama, una luz que pueda encender a nosotros como productores. Él más que todo, en el momento que pregunta, yo creo que lleva una idea de la situación que nosotros pasamos y estamos con todo pues para poder nosotros en un momento, nunca se sabe, va a poder tener otra conferencia y podemos tener otras necesidades que nos pueden salir ahí para poderla presentar. Un saludo a la distancia.
Okay, so Jose explained that he's thankful as well for this opportunity, and he hopes that this can be a light to help the coffee producers and to give an idea of the situation that they are facing. And so he also explained that he hopes, who knows, there will be another video conference to keep on explaining their situation, and he sends his greetings.
This is great. We also have a wonderful sustainability center at Keenan Flagler, and I'm already thinking about ways that we could have a type of forum where we get more people together and start to talk about these issues. You know, Carolina is one of the top research universities in the world, and so we have a lot of resources to bring to these issues, and would love to continue these conversations, Alex. I very much appreciate this opportunity. Jose y Marden, muchas gracias. Y Alex, también. And you all have a great week.
Yeah, sure. You too.
Thank you.
Bye.